Happy Wednesday. So, this week I want to talk to you guys about goals. And it may be a little bit of a weird message just because I'm going to kind of talk to a few different audiences here. I try not to do that. I think it's really important to know who you're talking to and talk to one person, well, one type of person, so that you guys are really getting the value that you come for, right? So, generally, these are geared towards um, people who plan to buy or sell real estate at some point, right? You are getting information, learning a bunch of things, and just helping your overall real estate knowledge. But with that, I know that there are some real estate agents who follow me as well. Um, and this is a great topic to kind of intermingle those two and go over some things that'll be super beneficial. So, a lot of you know I am a principal broker. I train agents. I've been training agents for a few years now. And one of the things that kills me, it happens every year, and we are not in the season. We have kind of the opposite effect happening. But it happens every year when the weather starts cooling down and it gets to be fall and the holidays are coming up and everyone goes, the winter is just a slow time in real estate. It just slows down. No one's looking to make a move. Their kids are in school. They have holidays. Everyone's preoccupied with other things other than buying and selling real estate and moving, right? It's not at the forefront of people's minds. And you know what happens every year? All the agents who say that have a very slow fall and winter. And those of us who don't buy it don't see any difference in our business. My November, December tend to be on par with my April, May, June. Oftentimes they're actually better, and it's because I end up picking up the slack of the agents who decide that it's slow, and then they're not working anymore because they don't think they have to. So what's really funny, what triggered this too, because also, if you know me well or have been following me, you know that I am on a little bit of a gym kick. It's been years since I've been in the gym frequently. I'm really enjoying getting back at it. And so I was looking around the gym yesterday morning. This really happened. And I thought to myself how weird it was to be in the environment I'm in and the difference it's made. And I know I'm kind of like all over the place here, but there's a point, so track with me. And I'm looking around, and again, if you know me well, you know this gym I started going to, technically a powerlifting gym. Y'all know me, like, not a power lifter by any means, but I also don't love cardio. So we joined this gym more so for my husband, because he does all the lifting. When we met, he went to a lifting gym that, like, it maybe had one treadmill, did not have any machines. It was like deadlifts. So we joined this gym that has a good variety of things. And the change I've seen in myself since joining this gym is so cool and interesting, which, first of all, I know, like, the lighting in here just happens to be good, but look at my skin. I feel like my skin has become so much nicer. Super bad ADD today, guys. I need more caffeine. But anyway, but the difference in environment and in what you believe can happen. So for a little bit, if I go to, I don't want to really name drop and talk badly about places, but I'm going to call out Planet Fitness, because I have a problem with Planet Fitness. I go there to have a healthier lifestyle, right? Even if I'm not trying to get buff, I'm going there to be a healthier version of myself and stronger. So when there's a pizza day, or you have a giant glass jar of freaking Tootsie Rolls at the counter, and I love some Tootsie Rolls, let me tell you. And then I look around and no one's really in it. There are a couple people working hard, but for the most part, it's people sitting around on their phones on the bench near the equipment I need to use. And now I'm in there twice as long as I need to be because everyone else in there is playing. And I'm not there to play. I'm there to get my workout and move on with my day because I got shit to do. It's just a very different environment versus going to this gym, which first of all, I can let myself in before 5 a.m. And that's what I do. And I can have the place to myself or work out with other people who are super dedicated, and they come in and they bust it out and they make me feel like I have such a high bar to hit. And I am not a power lifter. I don't want to be, but I do want to get stronger and I want to be healthier. And so when girl next to me is lifting hundreds of pounds, deadlifting, and I'm over here struggling to get, like, I don't even know what you call it, like an 80 pounds pullback just to get my back. I got to do better, right? And so then I started thinking about how that motivation of being in an environment of people pushing themselves harder than I push myself has changed there, and how that relates to my business. And I've seen that too. When I was on a team and there were expectations, your girl was top producer over and over and over because it was expected. And I had to hit those sales and I did it. And then when the expectations kind of laxed, I was like, well, I don't need to do that much. And I had some bad months. And then I realized, no, my bills need me to do that. And so I kept doing it. And then when I moved solo, I was enjoying all this time I had because guess what? No one's taking half of my check anymore. And really kind of, in a way, got in a funk again because I didn't have to work as hard to make the same money, right? And so these last few months, I picked back up and I have 5 under contract, which is about what I was used to before, but also with the broker responsibilities and also kids. And guess what? I still feel like I have time because I'm managing it. But I've also created an environment where my husband puts on podcasts in the morning that are going to set my mind in a place to help my business. And I look at my day as a work day. If it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon and I don't have an appointment, I'm doing something to prospect or to build my education or to put out educational content. There's always something happening to propel me forward. And I think that that's really important in an environment. And I know right now, if you're my core group of people where you're not in real estate, I don't know if you care about the gym or not. You might not be tracking, but this is important to you too. So please, please, please stay with me here. The environment you put yourself in and what you believe determines what you produce, right? So, sorry, that was a whole lot of messages. So if I want to be the best, I need to surround myself with the best, right? So I'm in groups with other agents, other brokers locally across the nation. And we talk about things, and the ones where no one's really doing anything, cool. I'll give some tips, but I'm not as invested in that. I want to be around people who I feel like are way out of my league even. And I feel like I'm a damn good agent. But I'm not out here selling 200 homes a year. I don't want to be. Personally, I don't think you can really do a great job if it's just you. But if you have the right people with you, you 100% can. So I look at it as how many people can I help and how do I get to a point where I can help more people? So from a real estate standpoint, if you guys are in here as agents and are hearing all this stuff about how things are changing and the market this and the market that and blah, 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 blah. I have 5 under contract. I have 2 additional active listings. I have 4 pre-approved buyers, and I have more in my pipeline. It's not the market. It's you not putting in the work. And it's hard. It's hard to do it by yourself. So if you need an environment where people are there to tell you you can, and that it's not all doom and gloom and we're here for you, then reach out and get in one of these groups where we're from different brokerages. It's not me recruiting. And let's push forward so that you can help the people who want your help. From a standpoint of being a buyer or seller, this is important for you too, because I think a lot of the times you read things in the media and you're like, not a great time to buy or sell. And then guess what? You look up, it's 5 years later, and dang, you missed the boat, right? So the number of people that are like, oh, I could have downsized back in 2021 and gotten about the same price for my house as now, but then I would have had that awesome 2-3% interest rate on the next one, could retire and sit real pretty, right? You missed the boat. Or I see it the most with first-time home buyers because, it's not a good time to buy and it costs so much to buy and prices are going up. Same thing with building. Materials are high. They're never not going to be high. And you wait until everything is perfect and you miss the boat. But more importantly, you miss the boat because you're listening to the wrong people and you're believing that things are not possible and you're not talking to people who have solutions to help the things that you're worried about, right? So you have an awesome interest rate right now on your current home. You want to buy another home, but it's too expensive. Well, let's talk through what it would look like if you kept your current home as an investment and rented it out, and then used that income to offset that next mortgage. Now you get the house you want, and you're really paying about the same, but now you have two appreciating assets. But if you're not working with people who are used to working in assets and investments, and you're just talking like, oh, it's a place I live, you're not going to think about that. If you are in a position where you feel like things are so expensive and you're just never going to buy, it's never going to happen for you, it's because you're around people that are complaining about how expensive things are and how little they make and that it's never going to happen and blaming everyone else. And I'm not saying that those complaints are all unfounded. I'm not. It's expensive out here. I feel it too. But if you surround yourself with people that are used to going, okay, this is my situation, and instead of whining about it, I know it's a harsh word, but instead of whining about it, I'm going to figure out a way to make it work for me. Then all of a sudden, you have tons of possibilities open up that you wouldn't have thought of. So, for example, say, I'm going to use myself because I don't like to call anyone out except myself. I'm really good at that. Which is the thing you need to start doing. Accountability is important. I have way too many payments and we're cutting them down. So I'm looking at cars that I can buy cash so that I can eliminate my car payment. And that means I'm going to have to give back my car that is my dream car, pretty much. And then still pay the negative equity I have on it. And that's a hit and it hurts and it sucks. But if I can eliminate that payment, I have that much more money I can play with. So if you have an expensive vehicle, maybe consider the same thing. We have a camper. We're going to rent it out. So then it's bringing in income instead of sitting there. There's so many creative things. If you have a pool, you can rent out your pool. If you have a big yard, you can rent out your yard. You can rent your extra vehicles. You can DoorDash. You can do a ton of different things to bring in additional income. If you feel like to count for your income on a mortgage, it's still things that you can use to save up some money to help with that closing cost, that down payment, what have you. And so then you're borrowing less, you're asking the seller for less, and you're in a better negotiating position because you have options now. So if you have a goal of buying, selling, investing, starting a career in real estate, propelling a career in real estate that's just kind of stagnant, there are always steps you can take to get ahead of it. Always, always. It is never just, it is what it is. There's always something you can do. So if you don't know what it is, reach out to me. I'm not an expert in everything. But what I don't know, I know people who know it, and that's really helpful. So I get you on the right path. But the biggest thing is just make sure that you are surrounding yourself with people who are where you want to be. A lot of times I hang out with people that have way more success than I do because I'm learning. I'm training people because I want them to learn, and it's all cyclical. But if you're sitting there hanging around with people who get a paycheck and they're happy just getting their paycheck, they're not trying to move up, they don't have any additional streams of income, and they're spending it all and they're not investing, and it just is what it is, and those are all of your friends, it's going to be a lot harder to buy a house than if you're hanging around people who have multiple properties. And not all of them are rich. Half of the investors I work with, if you saw them on the street, you wouldn't know how many properties they have, because it's not that they have a ton of, I mean, they have money now because they've invested, but it's not like they started out super wealthy. They just chose what to do with the money they had. So yeah, maybe this is a good kick in the pants. Hopefully it is a little bit inspirational and just helps you guys realize that really you can do whatever you set your mind to, and not everyone's path is going to be straight. It's not always going to be easy, but you can reach your goals, and we're here to help you do that. So yeah, it's funny too, again, digression, but we were talking with brand marketer for the brokerage and really diving into who it is that we help. And, we're kind of all over the place. If you commercial, residential, we're very well versed in either. We train, we sell, we lease. We don't really manage property, but pretty much anything else we do it. And that makes it very hard to market because we're like, and we have to get to here. And so when I joke, this is kind of like therapy, where it's like, I'm just going to keep asking questions until you guys self-discover. And the biggest takeaway is that we tend to be very family investor oriented. So just naturally, Chase and I both end up with people that also tend to have families or are just beginning things. And take them and walk them through how they can make their money work for them. And it's not just buying a house, it's so much more than that. And so it's funny how all of these experiences over the last week just kind of culminate and click together to form this little puzzle in my brain. And hopefully it is coming out articulated as well as it is in my head, because y'all know I have crazy ADD and it's like, but it's not, I'm going to sell you a house and I'm going to leave. It is, I want to know your goals well before you think you can achieve them. I want to help you get there. And then once you get there, I want to set you up to use that to jumpstart the next thing, if there is a next thing. So I think that's pretty much all I had. So I hope you guys have a happy Wednesday evening. As always, I'll see you next week at a topic to be determined. If you have suggestions, please send them my way. I sometimes run out of things to talk about and do a whole lot of praying that the good Lord gives me ideas. And so far it has not gone wrong, but I want to talk about what you want to hear about. So send me some suggestions, but definitely, if you are feeling like you're in a hole, I'm here for that too. So let's talk through it. Let's figure out how to get you where you want to be and make it a great week.